Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now? And I'm so sorry for the inconvenience and thanking for your time, such a long time. We have some technical issue. It's sometimes happen in Zoom. So thank you for waiting for us. So now we'll start our events. Thank you. Okay. So this is the Zoom guideline. So please read it and prepare for attending our Zoom event. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome to our event, Striving Towards a Nuclear-Free World Hand in Hand, Intersectional Dialogue for Youth, on this special day. Today, 21st September, is the International Day of Peace. The UN General Assembly has declared this as a day devoted to strengthening the ideas of peace through observing 24 hours non-violence and ceasefire. In Hiroshima, many citizens, including Hibakusha, gathered in front of Cenotaph in Peace Memorial Park to hear the sound of the peace bell. It is a time to think about peaceful daily life. So let us pray for the precious lives lost in the world's constant conflicts and give 1 minute of silence. Thank you. I am Riko Akai, currently working as a unitary intern. I'm going to be the moderator for today along with Shizuka. I'm a graduate student doing a master's degree. My research focusing on the Kashmir region. On my relaxing day off, I love paintings, so I drew album testimonies and post them on SNS so that viewers can feel the sense of peace in their daily lives. So greetings, Shizuka from New York.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for about the inconvenience and thank you for your patience. My name is Shizuka Kuramitsu. I am also a unitary intern and also graduate student at Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey with specialization in non-proliferation studies. Yeah, okay. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for waiting for us. So this summer marked the 77th year of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And in August, the 10th Review Conference of Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty took place in New York. Everywhere, people are discussing now imminent and global issue of nuclear weapons has become, and the young people are now joining in solidarity to take action for it. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you and extend my deepest gratitude to the panelists for today and citizens youth who are participating via Zoom. Lately, the youth have more chance to talk with global activists to exchange their ideas, and I'm excited about it because it shows that more and more people are aware of the significance of bringing diversity into discussion tables. I strongly believe that this will lead to a better and sustainable future for all. Shizuka, who specializes in disarmament studies, will talk about the current overview surrounding nuclear weapons. You have the floor.
Thank you. For those who are not familiar with nuclear issues, please let me give you a brief explanation and simplified background about the current situation surrounding nuclear weapons. Our nuclear regime is very complex and consists of many different elements such as international organizations, treaties, and security issues. Among many factors, the conference I attended in this August, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, so-called NPT, has been recognized as the cornerstone of our nuclear non-proliferation disarmament architecture. In this conference, about 190 countries who are the member states of the treaty discussed: 1, non-proliferation, how we can prevent the spread of nuclear weapons; 2, disarmament, how we can reduce the number and the role of nuclear weapons; 3, peaceful use of nuclear power, and they produced the final document by consensus to reaffirm and implement their commitments to nuclear disarmament. So in this year's conference, as many of you know, unfortunately, that final document was not adopted due to the block of the consensus by Russia. The last NPT review conference held in 2015 also failed to adopt the final document. Although NPT has played an important role in nuclear non-proliferation regime, due to this step-by-step approach, so-called step-by-step approach, because it's considered to be slow for some advocators, and some criticize the NPT for making too slow progress. And recently, there is a new initiative to ban nuclear weapons itself, which is called Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, so-called TPNW. And however, none of nuclear weapon states are on the negotiation table for this discussion. And it is also true that NPT is the only treaty that provides a platform for negotiation and discussion with both nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states. So this year's NPT was challenging because of ongoing war in Ukraine, and the threat of the use of nuclear weapons are so high. So in a nutshell, our nuclear disarmament is very challenged by the current political and national security environment. And where we are now standing and how we advance nuclear disarmament is a very critical discussion. Clearly, nuclear issue is not the only one that needs to be resolved. There are countless social problems. There are people who are on the edge and fighting against social injustice and inequity. Today, we would like to learn how young activists and international organizations are tackling these issues, these critical issues, and discuss how we can work together to make our world a better and kinder place. So this is today's agenda on a screen. In the first part, we have presentations from our panelists, and in the second part, we together discuss how their activities are related to nuclear disarmament and how we can involve more people in this field. With that being said, in the second part, there will be a breakout room session, and this breakout room session is to make our events more interactive. Please try to turn on your microphone and camera on and actively participate. If you only speak Japanese and if a language assistant is needed in most of the room, you will have bilingual assistance as well. So now let me finally turn to the panelists for today. We have 8 organizations from all over the world. Unfortunately, we're missing a representative from Center of Research and Information for Disarmament and Security, CRITS, but these organizations bring a different perspective from their activities and work, and how they're making this world kinder and a safer place. We can learn so much from it. Despite the various time difference zone and multiple rehearsals and technical issues, they joined us today to convey a message for peace on the International Day of Peace. So please, thank you again, everyone, and please join me in welcoming all the panelists. So I will give a floor to Miss Elisabetta from Atomic Reporters first. Elisabetta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shizuka. Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Yudureta, and well, I'm a young scholar in the field of nuclear non-proliferation and international security. And today I'm here with you on behalf of the NGO Atomic Reporters. It's Vienna-based organization, independent nonprofit organization, that provides journalists with impartial information about nuclear science and technology to actually encouraged informed reporting. And so today I want to speak a little bit more about what we do as the part of our initiatives and activities. And so let's start from the roots. Atomic Reporters is a small niche organization based in Vienna, Austria, alone in supporting journalists, professional and citizen, both craft and share knowledge about nuclear-related issues by building bridges as broad as range of communities as possible. And today I want to talk more about the Atomic Reporters initiative supporting young citizen journalists who share information with other young people, well, preferably on social media. And we share the information we were sharing and continue doing that about the risks of the nuclear weapons use. And so with a small team from Canada, France, Japan, Jordan, the US, and Ukraine, we covered the first meeting of member states parties of the TPNW, civil society and humanitarian impact meetings in Vienna back in June. And as a result of this project, we had a chance to cooperate with ICANN and address the current nuclear threats made by Russia in the ongoing war in Ukraine during the NPT review conference earlier in New York, earlier in August. So what is our aim? Basically, we want to inform young people about nuclear issues and help them find the means by which they can broaden awareness among their peers. The issues are too important to neglect yet, and there is currently indifference from insufficient knowledge. So such communication and responses of young people are particularly vital today, and they are vital because now we are living in the time of the heightened insecurity and veiled nuclear threats. So what do we what we want to emphasize on, and what our organization basically thinks, is that it's desperately needed to be informed and to have a space, a gap for the critical conversation among young people. And I'm convinced that our views and actions can make a significant difference if we want to do so. So to sum up today, we offer a variety of tools and training to young communicators to help them broaden and share knowledge with their peers. The language of nuclear is complex, as we know, and the more voices articulating it, the more chance we'll get to be heard. But most importantly, find the right words to wake up the world and finally make them pay attention to the danger which exists today, and we need to prove that it's our power to abolish. So basically that is what Atomic Reporters tries to do, and to raise this concern among young people, but also among other age groups. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to share and to speak on today's panel about our activities. I'm excited to hear about the activities of other organizations, and I will be much appreciated if Shizuka shared the links to our Atomic Reporters websites and socials in the chat if you're eager to find out more about what we do. And so please feel free. Sorry. Here it is. Okay, here it is. So, and please feel free to contact us and we can make this world a better place together again. Thank you for the attention, and I'm excited for the discussion.
Thank you, Lisa. Now we have Miss Virginia from Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization Youth Group. Virginia, floor is yours.
Okay, then while Virginia is working with her microphone, I would like to introduce about our activities. Hi, I'm Shizuka Nakamura from No Nukes Tokyo, and please let me allow to share the screen first. So yes, we are No Nukes Tokyo. Can you see this now much better? Oh my
Yes.
God, I sorry, I missed this script. So okay, here. Yes, so we are Nonux Tokyo, and first let me introduce about the meaning of this name. First, we embedded 3 meanings in the name here. First one is Nonux, which stands for our policy right here.
Suzuka-san, I think your screen isn't showed right now.
Okay, wait a second. Sorry, can you see now?
Yeah, I
Oh.
can see now.
Can I continue my presentation in this
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, so the first one is no nukes, which stands for our policy that completely denies and condemns the existence of nuclear weapons. And second is no nukes, which is KNOW, to make people aware and learn together what's going on now. And third, no new. We want to create a new standard of peace activity in Japan by making our peace actions a type of job. Like in Japan, it is still difficult for us to have a job through peace activities, and many members have no choice but to leave when they graduate from school. However, we believe that to really solve the issue, it is necessary to sustain the activities for much longer term. So these are the part of our activities which we are doing right now. And the one thing we are really trying hard is that political actions. In Japan, so the only ABON country is thought to be in the positive side of this treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. But the government keeps negative attitude, which could be said so irresponsible because of the reason of national security. However, we are keep trying to ask each politicians, what do you think about this treaty, or what is the exact reason for taking negative way of attitude? So by keep asking these kinds of questions, some of them took this issue more seriously and started thinking much harder, which is a wonderful thing that pushed the discussion forward. So that's why we are very eager to promote political actions. But we are doing other actions as well. And I'm going to cut off each explanation since we don't have enough time today. But we are trying to focus nuclear issue from many different aspects. So lastly, these are the pictures of our members. But every actions we made are completely following and reflecting the previous political and social changes. So yes, I am so excited to have discussion with you today. And thank you so much for having me here. Yes, this is all for me, and I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Virginia, are you back?
Virginia is fixing.
Can you hear me now
her
better?
problem,
Yes.
so
Perfect.
move to next speaker.
You hear me
Nuran
well?
from
Yes.
Marshall Island Student Association.
I'm here in Rico. So should I go? Should I wait?
Yeah, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. So finally, I can say it again. Hello, everyone, and happy International Day of Peace. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a real pleasure. My name is Virginia, and I'm here on behalf of the CTBTO Youth Group. I'm a young professional in arms control and disarmament, as well an activist for peace and disarmament. As you may know, we are a network of students and young professionals committed to contributing to global peace and security who wish to promote the CTBT and its verification regime actively. Last year, we celebrated our 5th anniversary, and since the creation of this group, we have created many activities to engage the youth with disarmament. We organize activities usually that allow everyone worldwide to learn more about the CTBT, non-proliferation, and disarmament. But also we create professional experiences that help other young professionals to get into this field, and we give a voice and a place to the table to their talents. For instance, last year we had Building Bridges initiative, which you may have known, to connect CTBTO youth group members with other youth movements focusing on climate change, sustainable development, and peace and security advocacy. I'm very happy to say that we're probably one of the most prominent groups in this field. In fact, we are almost 1,200 members. This means that we help young professionals to connect, and we give them opportunities to learn. For instance, we have our fellowship program, and we have also many educational resources on our website that are fruitful for everyone. Overall, we promote peace by providing the youth a place to be and opportunities to have a place in this field. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Great, thank you. So now we have Miss Mulan from Marshall Islands Student Association. Mulan, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Can I share my screen? Okay. So, hello, everyone. My name is Mulan Andrew, and I am from the Marshall Islands. I'm a current president of MISA for the Pacific, which is a youth-led advocacy group here at the University of the South Pacific in Suva, Fiji. To give you some context about the Marshall Islands, there were 67 nuclear weapons tested by the US in 1946 through 1958. That is equivalent to 1.6 Hiroshima shots detonated every day for 12 years. The impacts of these tests are ongoing, including alarming rates of cancer, displacement of environmental degradation due to leftover nuclear waste left behind by the US testing program. Since 2017, young Marshallese students like myself have been working to raise awareness about the intergenerational and environmental impacts of nuclear testing among our peers at the USP. We advocate for issues including the Runit Dome and the imminent discharge of nuclear waste from the Fukushima nuclear energy plant. Some of our activities include documenting and sharing stories of survivors through the film we produced in 2019, documenting and sharing our stories and experiences through discussions, presentations, panels, arts, and more. We also have been organizing an annual march every year to raise solidarity for nuclear victims. From a few students, our movement has grown to include many more students in partnerships with regional organizations. MISA students recently had an opportunity to attend the first MSP to the TPNW and platform Marshall Islands Youth Voices at an international level, helping to shape international policy on victims assistance and environmental remediation. Our role in eliminating weapons is to highlight the humanitarian impacts of nuclear weapons in the Marshall Islands and Pacific. We do so not only to prevent future nuclear tragedies, but to advocate for justice for our people and islands. It can be challenging because we are all students and we all volunteers, so we do not receive any compensation for the work we do, but we try to be resourceful and make it work. We owe a lot to our CSO partners in the Pacific who always support us, and of course, our many homegrown role models who inspire us, such as Darlene Keju and Tony DeBroom, who have paved the path for young leaders to carry on their work in hopes of a better future, safe environment for future generations. We are motivated by love and care for our islands, oceans, and people, and preserving our resources for the future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. As you can see, Betty is from the Marshall Islands Students Association as well, and she put the link of the YouTube video that is really amazing too. Please check them out too. And now we have Mr. Kendo and Ms. Misuzu from Personalization Project. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Shizuka-san. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Kento Suzuki, the president of a nonprofit organization based in Hiroshima, Japan, called the Personalization Project. And we launched our organization back in November 2020 with the slogan you can see on the slide, which is to see ourselves in the world. And we would like to create a world where everyone, regardless of the degree of interest in social issues, can personalize and internalize social issues. And we believe that recognizing one's positionality in the global society and also being able to regard and conceptualize individual social issues as their own is vital to making tangible positive changes towards the resolution of any social issues, including obviously nuclear disarmament. Yep. Okay, so to achieve our mission, we set 2 goals. The first one being that youth students become able to foster the ownership of social issues in the world, and the second being that youth students become able to proactively make positive changes in society. And we've been trying to achieve the mission we stated earlier, and also these 2 goals by providing an online platform for global youth to interact with each other through dialogues and discussions. Since we started the project, we've conducted sessions connecting 12 countries and 9 partner schools across the globe. All right, so what do we do? So I guess our activities can be broken down into 2 components. One is, as you can see on the left, is online weekly sessions. And we have connected 10 countries across the globe since we started. And we also conduct spin-off sessions where we invite individual global youths to share their thoughts and their own personal experiences on some of the social issues that are prevalent in their own communities and countries. And we also replicate this kind of sessions in school settings. So having said all this, let me share with you a little anecdote that I think explains very well how we're contributing to the world without nuclear weapons through our activities. So on the right is a photo of one of our school sessions where we connected a public high school in Hiroshima, Japan, and a high school in Kabul, Afghanistan. And as we do with any other school sessions, we prompted both parties to converse on, a very broad topic of war and peace. And the Hiroshima students basically decided to talk mainly about what happened back in 1945 in Hiroshima. And the Afghan students were so touched and inspired by their talks, so much so that we actually got some feedback directly from them saying that they actually decided to get together and watch movies on the A-bomb themselves. And on the other hand, the Afghan students shared their experiences on how war is happening literally right now in front of them. And the Japanese students later told us that they further understood how pressing the weaponry issues are in the world, those regarding, obviously, including those regarding nuclear weaponry issues as well. And this experience apparently has been serving as a momentum for their anti-nuclear weaponry activities as well. So, in this way, even though we intentionally do not focus solely on nuclear disarmament issues in our programs, we create an environment where students still get to become interested in such issues in a very natural manner. I'm looking forward to discussing further with you all tonight, this morning. So thank you so much for having us, and looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you. Now we have Miss Mona Lisa from Reverse the Trend.
Thank you, Shizuka. Hi, everyone. My name is Mona Lisa Hazarika, and I'm an indigenous disarmament activist from India, pursuing my master's in conflict management and development from Banaras Hindu University. I'm also one of the 25 leaders for tomorrow of United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs Youth for Disarmament Initiative. Today, I'm representing Reverse the Trend as the youth coordinator of their South and Southeast Asia chapter, and it's so lovely to see so many familiar faces today. So yeah, briefly talking about our organization, Reverse the Trend. RTT is the youth initiative of Nuclear Age Peace Foundation, which embraces an interdisciplinary perspective on critical issues related to international peace and security and climate activism. RTT facilitates youth mobilization to take collective action on tackling the twin existential threats facing humanity, that is of nuclear weapons and climate change, and holding our leaders accountable for their actions or the lack thereof. It amplifies the voices of young people, primarily coming from frontline communities who have been directly affected by nuclear weapons and climate change. Our mission is to rise up, take action, and share your voice. So to ensure youth mobilization on a grassroots level, we have assembled a group of advisors across various fields who work directly with youth activists and have extensive educational resources, including a curriculum and a toolkit, which are available on our website, along with a list of resources for advocacy on topics covering nuclear disarmament, environmental affairs, and international law. Also, we have a community forum, which is intended to be an online safe space for youth to exchange their views and engage with diplomats on important international issues and strengthen the network of passionate youth across the globe. With chapters across South and Southeast Asia, Canada, US, Japan, Pacific, and Francophone, RTT follows a region-specific approach to amplify the voices of local youth and provides them with a platform to connect and engage in meaningful discussions. Currently, the different chapters are devising creative tools to raise awareness about this critical issue, including webinars, podcasts, Instagram Lives, conversation series, in-person events, and setting up of youth clubs in their schools and universities. We also have a few exciting projects coming up, so please stay tuned. Some of our partners include NAPF, Nuclear Age Peace Foundation, IPPNW, No Nukes Tokyo, Lawyers Committee on Nuclear Policy, Marshallese Educational Initiative, Youth for TPNW, Peaceport US, and many more, many of which are present on this call today. So lovely to see you guys. And yeah, finally, you can reach out to us via details on your screen and also in the chat box. I have taken the liberty to add my own contact details, so please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you would like to collaborate. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mona Lisa. So then move on to next speaker, Juliana. The floor is yours.
Hi, let me just share my screen. Can you see it well?
Yes.
Okay, so, hello everyone, I'm Juliana and I have been so inspired until now. Thank you so much for this opportunity to hear from so many amazing leaders and also to share a little bit of my story. So, as I said, I'm Juliana, and I'm a graduate and a former staff member at the Eastern Mediterranean International School. So we're a school in Israel, uniting Israelis, Palestinians, and internationals for peace and sustainability through education. It's a 2-year-long boarding school program with almost all students receiving scholarships. This allows us to welcome people from different economic backgrounds, including refugees. Our focus is not specifically on eliminating nuclear weapons, but engaging youth in peace, so mass destruction weapons don't even come to the table. For many, it's the first time they're living with someone from the opposite side of the conflict, and they get to see each other as humans and not enemies. And what is our biggest challenge? We're basically a bubble in a conflict zone. No matter if indoors you're preaching about reconciliation, though narratives, we're not shielded from the outside. In 2021, when I was still a student there, we experienced a rise in tensions when a 12-day war with Gaza broke out, resulting in daily bombings. We had our classes and activities disrupted by sirens, leaving us with 90 seconds to run to bomb shelters. Although we had the privilege of the Israeli defense system, we got to be in the middle of the crossfire. My Palestinian friends would cry over the strikes in Gaza, and my Israeli friends feared the mandatory military draft during war times. This was a wake-up call for a school, a reminder of why we need to empower this generation to become future peacemakers. Thank you, Shizuka and Rika, for having me here, and I'm super excited to learn from the other organizations and take part in this discussion. How do we
Thank
stop?
you, Juliana. Thank you, Juliana. Okay, now we have Miss Zainab from Youth for Disarmament by UNDA.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for all your inspiring stories and sharing all the great work that all of you are doing. My name is Zanab, and I'm currently pursuing a Master's of Science degree in Violence, Conflict, and Development from the SOAS University, London. And early this year, I completed my internship at the United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs in New York. I had the opportunity to assess the office during the 76th General Assembly session and help in preparations for the NPT review conference after. And during this internship, I also acted as the Youth for Disarmament support, where I had the opportunity to attend multiple panels and also assist in a lot of youth-related projects. And just to give a little bit of insight on the Youth for Disarmament initiative is basically an outreach initiative established in 2019 by United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs to connect geographically diverse young people with experts to learn about current international security challenges and the work of the United Nations and how to actively participate in this area. And just as Rico has said in the chat, there is the Youth for Disarmament website and Instagram page for your view. And the website basically gives complete access to resources such as career opportunities, internships, work, fellowship opportunities to youth keen on playing an active role in this field. And you can take your time to skim over the website and definitely explore the disarmament education page as well. And just like to tell you more about it, through my work experience with Youth for Disarmament, I can say that by giving free and easy access to youth to participate in disarmament-related projects, panel talks, information about conferences, panels held by other organizations with the same motive and aim, and informing youth about the UN mandates and happenings related to disarmament and youth and disarmament in general, and giving all of the youth from all across the world with any background access to free education and training courses where you also get certificates after. What Youth for Disarmament is basically aiming to do is upskill youth and make them more aware and confident in their work related to disarmament. And this ideally, I believe, really helps in one of the key challenges we face as youth of this era in the disarmament field is that we don't, I believe, have many opportunities in the disarmament area. We don't have many university courses catering to disarmament. And for like in comparison to even like environmental sciences field, you have many job opportunities in that field. And so this makes it really hard for us youth to participate or contribute our expertise, work on our passion and ideas in like ways to research or long-term placements in this field. And so I feel like organizations like Youth for Disarmament and their ties with UNODA, the UN, and likewise like renowned organization really helps youth feel confident in wanting or pursuing a livelihood and working on their passion towards disarmament with a lot of confidence and looking at a long-term relation in this field. And that's about it. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, as you could just tell, 3 minutes, it's too short for these cool activities and all the panelists. So now let's go into the first discussion. The first question of the discussion is, how is your work and activity are related to nuclear disarmament? And what do you think of the importance of the interdisciplinarity and partnership within cross-sectional fields? And how can we connect these different fields? There are a lot to unpack here. So let's start with personalization project, Mr. Kento.
Well, I think I can start off with this discussion. So about this topic, we believe that in order to foster interdisciplinarity and collaboration among different fields, it is important that we create an environment where each individual's interests, concerns, and expertise can be respected and utilized to the fullest extent. So for this reason, in the personalization project, we intentionally set rather broad topics and questions of discussion and emphasize the importance of creating a place where open discussions can take place. We also put emphasis on considering and understanding the background of those who participate in our program. we all have different backgrounds, right? And we all have different perspectives. So there are many people willing to promote nuclear disarmament and those that are totally against it as well. So in any discussion, we must first be willing to take in a variety of opinions and viewpoints rather than sticking only with those who share the same beliefs or same values. We believe that we should not bound by our own backgrounds, interests, expertise, and instead, we must not abandon our greatest tool called dialogues like we're doing. So of course, there will be conflicts or interests or differences in opinion, but this is why we need multi-stakeholders and mediators. And this is precisely what we believe interdisciplinarily and interdisciplinarily collaboration means and it requires. Yeah, that's all from us.
Thank you. In terms of intersectionality, I have a perception that also No Nukes Tokyo is working on, that's also No Nukes Tokyo is trying to focus on too. Would you like to speak a little bit about your intersectionality activities, Suzuka?
Yep, thank you. Yes, we, as I said in the beginning, we are trying to relate with nuclear disarmament and this issue from many different aspects and fields. And as personalization project, Misuzu-san said, like dialogue is so important, and like therefore to make a place where we can connect to each other, we are planning to hold nuclear ban forum, which was held in Vienna in June, which I can hold. The name is still tentative and we are preparing for it, so nothing is still clear, but definitely we wish that this could help connect each activities from different fields. I guess most of people here knows about the IK Nuclear Ban Forum, but just in case, that forum was held before the MSB, and a lot of activists, like 600 activists, gathered there from all over the world, and like, holding alcohol or sweets on their hands and talking and discussing about this nuclear disarmament, which was so, clever way to spread the network. So and it was so casual, like everyone was so delightful. The atmosphere was so wonderful. So I thought that would be so great to bring that to Japan. So yeah, that's our plan.
Yeah, I would like to add to that, Suzuka. I totally agree to the intersectional nature of nuclear disarmament, and it's pretty evident by now that the issues related to nuclear weapons are intersectional in nature, and its repercussions can only be fully understood when seen from a diverse lens. So they have an all-pervasive impact on every aspect of our life, whether we realize it or not, and even their mere existence pose a great threat that should be of concern to everyone. So to contextualize it, I would like to give the example of one of the indigenous communities of Northeast India and their long-standing movement against the uranium mining by the government agencies on their native land. So the Khasis of Meghalaya are one of the many tribal groups in India with a rich history of environmental protection and sustainable living practices. Coincidentally, they also have a huge stockpile of uranium and other rare minerals in the hills that they reside and consider as their living heritage of their ancestors. So even since the government found traces of these rare yet very important minerals, there has been a steady increase in its illegal smuggling, violence among groups, contamination of land and water resources, and also depletion of important flora and fauna. So as an indigenous woman, I have firsthand seen the impact that it has on the health and overall environment of the region and the communities that have been displaced as a result of the large-scale extraction projects. So it's imperative to bring in experts and activists from various fields, such as those working towards racial justice, indigenous rights, climate activists, or even doctors per se, so that we can understand the cross-cutting effects, which further helps us tackle this issue more effectively. We can connect them by providing them platforms for engaging in academic discussions or intersectional dialogue such as this one to come up with more durable solutions.
I actually think that intersection and partnership with different fields is crucial. And this is because we live in a very complex world in which issues are interconnected with each other, and also because we live in a very globalized world. For instance, when we think about social injustice, we have to see the other face of it. We have to see what was done to the environment in regional areas where people struggle to build a life, in the regions that are not wealthy. So if we had not done nuclear tests in the past, people would have not got, for instance, cancer. People would not have had mutations. Now, we know better, of course, but in all those places where nuclear tests took place, people can't live them anymore, can't even like build a normal life anymore. For instance, we have Kazakhstan. So what happens is that they can't have any profit from their lands, for instance. So there are also harmful economic consequences. And in this very complex world, a world with social injustices, problems arise in various forms, which can be war, migrations, and so on. And so when there are all these problems, there are tensions, and there is a high risk of escalation and using weapons of mass destruction. And that's why groups like mine, CYG, are important, because we have various different people inside that can bring new perspective. They can bring the political perspective, but also the scientific perspective, because again, like disarmament is a problem that touches very different points, and tensions can escalate very quickly, as we're seeing nowadays. Thank you.
Yeah, and adding on to what Virginia said, there are many intersections within like nuclear justice and all these resulting of nuclear waste like cancer and so much more. Like in the context of our islands alone, one of those intersections is climate change. There's a saying that we like to use: the nuclear issue and climate change are two sides of the same coin. We know that climate change is threatening the runic domes, and nuclear waste seeping into the ocean from this dome only makes the impacts of climate change worse. It is a vicious cycle that needs to end. The nuclear issue is also made worse by other disasters such as COVID-19, because health issues stemming from nuclear tests have made our population more vulnerable. In addition, countries like ours still feel the impacts of colonization, which has caused many injustices to occur, such as loss of land, loss of culture and sacred connections to land, displacement, racism, segregation, human experiments done on our people, and violent impacts to women and children. All of these issues require solutions that need to be thoughtfully created and implemented so as not to cause more harm to Indigenous communities. We also need to be inclusive of those people we are trying to help, because their voices matter. We don't want to impose solutions that we think are best for other people or speak on behalf of people who would rather speak for.
Thank you, Milan. I think we had a lot to unpack here, but I don't want the momentum. I don't want to stop the momentum, and I want you to keep going. So, Zainab, do you want to talk about some politics and economy's perspective on it?
Yes, thank you so much for giving me the floor. I was just listening to everybody and I was like, I have to add what they said to my talk as well. I think it's absolutely imperative that we draw links between different fields like economics, politics, and disarmament. And I just want to throw in some examples so that people get to know what I'm actually trying to say by this. And so I'm talking about research work, for example, calculating the financial and economical cost of investing in weapons or investing in research and development towards warfare missile technology in order to prove just how much we could have rather invested in public goods that give positive externalities to the general population and towards building a safe, more sustainable future. And this includes examples like what Virginia said towards research towards cancer, or generally just building hospitals, giving free access to schools for kids living below the poverty line, clean energy subsidies. So this is where all of the money could have gone rather than in investing in weapons. And just to build on this, similarly, it's just so important for experts from field of gender studies or environmental studies to join experts from economics to curate and build research work addressing questions interlinking, for example, gender-based violence in conflict regions and its impact on labor market participation of women, to just showcase and solidify facts on how we really need to achieve disarmament, to achieve gender rights, to get gender equality in these nations, and how in terms of what, again, Melissa said was how in the same terms, I would just like to add on to what she said, just a research paper addressing the high economic cost of generating electricity from like hydropower plants, which release plutonium as a waste and are suspected of being used by nuclear weapon countries to build more nuclear weapons instead of maybe just using solar energy to generate electricity. So such studies just solidify and hence like depict the necessity of disarmament for governments, policymakers, organizations, researchers, and students like us. And they spread evidence-based facts and narratives to the general population. And this makes the population aware of where their tax money is being spent and where they rather have it spent instead. And so this gives a rise to word of mouth, encourage talks, petitions, and leads to democratic countries to hold their politicians accountable. And so this helps in electing leaders based on their perspective towards disarmament and nuclear weapons, etc. So this is how important interdisciplinary studies are and towards research in these fields. Thank you so much.
I would like to follow up here with Zainab, and I would like to think, honestly, watching this issue from the economic part is very, very interesting, and I think it is much needed. And it brings me to the thought that it's like, first and foremost, it's important to speak about the necessity of having the dialogue between fields, because this actually leads to some kind of the solution. And then, well, basically economic part is very interesting and something I really want to learn more about. But then I also think about two other things like politics, because a lot of us were mentioning it here, and also educational gaps which exist. Well, I'll start with quickly with educational gaps, because I think to actually have this dialogue and to actually let people understand what we need to change, we need to fill the educational gaps which exist. I mean, to actually the students, the scholars like us, and then the organizations we're part of, and the government themselves, we actually need to tell people what this thing is about, what the problem is, and then this will lead them to the thought that there is something that needs to be changed. And then moving from educational sphere to the politics, I think there should be more dialogue between civil society and the governments. And for example, going back to Virginia's example with Kazakhstan, if the governments will actually adhere to the nuclear test survivors, then I think they will have this feeling I still believe in humanity. And hopefully, if we have more dialogue and not just this dry politician script, then I think there will be more humanity in the issue. I really think we lack this now because people are thinking about everything only in like political context, only about like the economical impact it will make. But what about like people? There are like people who actually, I mean, back in Vienna, Suzuka was speaking about Vienna events. We met some people from Kazakhstan or like French Polynesia. Those people are actually fighting. So I think that the government and the decision makers, we should somehow like go to that level of dialogue, which has to exist on the permanent level. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. That was really great point. And that was very heartening, honestly. And speaking of conflict zones, Juliana mentioned in the first presentation about her school, where students are from a lot of backgrounds and some of them are still in conflict zones as well. Do you want to share a little bit of your perspective in here too?
Yes, first I just wanted to thank everyone. This has been such an interesting discussion. And I believe everything to be said has already been said. I just want to add some of my personal perspectives talking about the Middle Eastern region and nuclear disarmament. So Israel, the country where Emes is located, is widely believed to possess nuclear weapons, though the country neither acknowledges nor denies the existence of a nuclear arsenal. Personally, I believe Israel's likely possession of nuclear weapons and refusal to sign the Treaty on Non-Proliferation poses a great threat to the region, and Emes has a fundamental role in educating the people who will be able to change these policies. Only then we'll be able to talk towards real peace.
Great, thank you. So let's move on to the breakout room session. We had a lot of points to unpack here, and all of them are really interesting. So you're now going to be assigned in a breakout room session, and you will be free to talk about disarmament and also about the importance of interdisciplinarity discussions and possibly how they're related to SDGs as well. So try to connect your area of interest with disarmament, and discussion topics will be sent via chat. So if you have anyone or any topic specifically that you would like to talk, feel free to move around other rooms as well. So also, if you have any difficulties conveying your opinions, you're always welcome to speak to a moderator as well. Is everyone back?
Yes, I think so. Okay.
I
Welcome
saw
back to me. Oh, yeah.
I saw many
So-
lively discussions and chats going on. That was really
yes.
really happy. Now turning into Rico's to moderate the second part of the discussion, but we will not have a breakout room session again. So if you want to keep in touch with any fellows that you have met here, please contact and try to be engaged too.
Okay, yes, please reconnect and make network. Okay, welcome back to main room. How was the discussion in the breakout room? So let's moving on to the second question and have a positive discussion about disarmament in the future. So question 2, it has been difficult for a lot of people to realize the importance and urgency of nuclear issue and to take actions. Do you or your organization have any solution or ideas? What is the role that the youth have this context? So always the starter is personalization project, because personalized something is important in the beginning. So please go ahead, Kent-san or Mrs.-san.
Okay, thank you so much for setting this up. I guess, I definitely obviously understand that. It's literally really about personalization. So I guess I can sort of kick off here. So yeah, I mean, we as the personalization project strongly believe that it's really important this whole, nuclear weaponry issue itself becomes more literally open to more citizens in the world. And many of us that have already taken the issue of nuclear weapons as our own, right? And are active already in the activism must have had sort of like, formative experiences that convinced us of the necessity of nuclear abolishment, such as certain encounters with someone or some things, or, certain cues, right? And as two of us from the Presentation Project were born in Hiroshima, we received peace education from very early on. And because of that, it has been very natural for us to take actions on the issue of nuclear weapons as if it were kind of our own personal matter. However, when I stepped into other parts of the world, outside of Hiroshima, outside of Japan, I realized that such an environment is very unique and rare. And so I personally feel like discussions on nuclear weapons are still taking place in a very narrow circle in the world. And we think that we should first create a platform where people from various backgrounds are able to encounter with each other, regardless of their views on nuclear weaponry issues, as we've been talking about throughout this entirety of sessions so far, and further sort of develop or even alter our own opinions based on our knowledge of various standpoints that we get to gain through dialogues through amongst ourselves. And in order to increase the number of us that support the abolition of nuclear weapons, I believe that the very first step is to make the discussion on nuclear weapons more accessible to every corner of the world, and to create an environment where each individual can freely hold their opinions and express those freely. So, yeah.
Thank you, Kent-san. I think Virginia has her opinion to analyze current situation for youth.
Yes, indeed. We were just discussing in one of the breakup rooms about it, and I was just saying that unfortunately, people nowadays, normal citizens, they think that the problem of nuclear weapons and the nuclear threat is in the past. They remember what happened in Japan, but they don't think that it could happen again, or they don't even remember that few years ago North Korea was testing nuclear weapons. So in this current situation, youth is even more critical, because if you ask me, during the past 5 years, civil society brought the issue of climate change to the global citizens, making the issue more mainstream. Well, I think that this could happen even with disarmament. Why not? This could be especially true for, obviously, disarmament and the nuclear threat. And youth has one of the most significant roles, whether the international leaders accept it or not. And this because we have nowadays so many instruments to spread this topic that previous generation didn't. Previously, the nuclear threat, nuclear weapons were only discussed in forums, in college, blah, blah. But nowadays, actually, the youth has enormous power, and the power comes from the fact that we can use social media very well. We have new ways to communicate and to express ourselves and our messages. And our creativity is also, in my opinion, the changing point, because we can spread the message with so many, again, instruments. We can expect something to change with the same mindset that created these problems. And that's why the youth is the leading actor. We have new perspectives and new energies that should be taken into consideration when policies and decisions are assembled. And also, another important fact, if there's no place for a young generation to the table, are we really inclusive? I don't think so. So young people should be listened, but also we should also understand that we have power, and the power does not mean that, even if we don't have a place to the table, we can all nowadays use social media, and that's our power, and we have to use it now more than ever. Thank you.
I would like to follow up here with Virginia, and it was indeed very, very inspiring. And I definitely agree with her. I think we have now, more than ever, we have so many tools to actually make this raising the concern the part of our daily basis activities. I mean, we don't really have to gather, speak, or make some particular events. We can every day on the daily basis, like make educating possible. We can use social media for that. And as Virginia told, we have creativity. And then this is like basically what Atomic Reporters also tries to do. We try to give tools to people, like tools to raise their voices. And then that's what we were discussing in the breakout rooms. And I feel like this idea is something we should think about and actually have in our minds, because now we have concern. Everyone here has like cares about the nukes and disarmament. And so this is something we should save in us and take examples from young ourselves, and not like from the current governments who some of those who don't really make any decisions, but when we are actually the next generation who will make decisions. So our young selves now should be an example for us in the future, so we can actually make the difference. And then also here comes like, I'm thinking a lot of my personal background because it's something I can't like not to think about. I'm from Ukraine, and I'm when the war started back in February, I saw how many people were afraid. And this is something Kenta was talking about, like growing up in Hiroshima, you have this feeling that you know about the problem. Then back in Ukraine, we didn't have this feeling. People thought, like young people didn't have the idea that they can care about nukes. They thought this is something like forbidden to think about the change in this field. Then like older generations had this nasty flavor of Cold War period, well, young people do not think about. And unfortunately, what I see now, the best thing to actually start care and having a concern is to be in the place when you are under the threat to use nuclear weapons. I don't want the threat of using nuclear weapons to be the reason for people to care about it. And as Virginia told, there is like people speaking about climate change. I think like speaking about disarmament has the same right to be as speaking about like climate change and environment. So we are now here are those who can actually make this change. And also like, even if all of us will make a tweet or tell people, well, there is a problem and that's why we should care about it, we can make difference. So like we have more tools than ever. And that's why I strongly believe, because today in the morning, right before the panel, I read about some other nuclear threats coming from Russia to my country. And well, if we don't speak, then there will be no world.
Thank you, Lisa, so much.
Yeah,
sorry,
thank you.
Yeah,
no, that's okay. Thank you, Lisa, for such an inspirational talk, and our hearts are with you and all the Ukrainians out there. We're always thinking of you, have no doubt, and I hope we see a future where it's all peaceful. And I'm just going to relate with you, I think, and Virginia as well. From the past couple of years, I've seen that the whole world is getting to know more of fresh conflicts that are arriving and that are rising across the nations, and fresh mistrust amongst nations have been arriving across the world. And because of how fast information is being disseminated, all of people are getting to know that, especially the youth. And this is also very critical because I myself come from a conflict region, but this is like a 70-year-old conflict and it's persisting. And you have places like Syria, Yemen, which have persisting conflicts since years. And now with fresh conflicts like from Ukraine, I feel like more and more and different parts of the world, different regions across the world are really getting to know and feeling like this is all real and this needs to be addressed now, because this is somewhat what's similar. We left World War II, World War I situations like, and so I feel like mainstreaming the talk about disarmament is going to be easier now for a lot of more youth. And this is the time we roll the drums and make a lot of noise about this topic, just like how they did 5 years ago about climate change. I feel like, just like how Virginia said and Lisa said, social media is important. free education and easy access to education for people from different backgrounds, where you're not using a lot of technical jargon, and it's helping you come from level 1 to level 5 and giving general awareness to people from different backgrounds is crucial. And I feel like organizations like Youth for Disarmament are playing a key role towards this. So yeah, social media to spread information, easy access to free education for people from all backgrounds, no matter if you're a master's, bachelor's, or just high school students, and just raising awareness amongst each other in our inner circles and outer circles is really helpful in this way. Yeah.
Wow, I think you just summarized perfectly how we can all stand up for it and how urgent disarmament is. First, I also wanted to give a shout out to Shima, who we met in the breakout room. She's a high schooler who found out about our meeting through Twitter and came here to learn. And this is exactly what we need. Youth has a crucial role in engaging with disarmament and just generally decision making. We young people are often excluded from the decision table or considered underqualified or unknowledgeable on the issue, although it's our future that it's at risk, as it was mentioned before. And I want to bring this a little bit to what we do here at MS. Let me just share my screen real quick. So how can we address this in a peace school? So at MS, we always give tools for students to navigate peacemaking, especially through diplomacy. The Charney Resolution Center at MS is in charge of organizing and sponsoring training and conferences like Yokopaz and the Peace Talk simulations. So our kids leave prepared to act in the real world. The best part is that the students, they're mostly the ones organizing, they're the ones in charge of facilitating the workshop, showing how their inputs and experiences are important to our school. These are a few of the initiatives we have, and this is exactly how it should be like in governmental spaces and NGO themed around nuclear disarmament, especially when it comes to bringing to the discussion the groups who are most affected by mass destruction weapons.
Yes, I wanted to add to Juliana's presentation that it seems very interesting, and I wish I was back in school so that I can join it probably. I'll be a delegate from India. But yes, adding to what you said about how youth are treated as in this course, like one of my fellow panelists have already mentioned, that the problem with the lack of awareness among citizens is because they consider it outside the purview of their control, something which only involves our leaders and decision makers, and they do not get a say in this matter, especially the youth. So they essentially are not aware of the imminent danger that nuclear weapons pose and how their inaction is indirectly funding their development and the potential use in the future, like Zainab mentioned. Some even take pride that their country possesses nuclear weapons as a measure to protect itself from the enemy nations and also as an integral part of their national security. Others may be of the opinion that they are not that important since the end of Cold War and no country would be foolish enough to use them, hence the deterrence theories. So the only way to tackle this, in my view, would be to mainstream this idea that nuclear disarmament is not something utopian and can be achieved with collective efforts by incorporating it to normal day-to-day conversations and converting the important facts and figures related to the matter. For example, the military expenditure, the catastrophic immediate effects, the long-term impact of radiation, including a nuclear famine and winter, into something which is more approachable, something which is a bite-sized information in the form of a chart or a diagram. We can educate our people, especially the youth, in holding our leaders accountable with proper facts, with proper data. So in an attempt to raise awareness, I have, in collaboration with my organization, Reverse the Trend, have started a monthly conversation series titled Nuclear Disarmament, Why Should I Care? So this is an attempt to bring this crucial issue into the mainstream conversation and not limited to the purview of just scholars, experts, or policymakers. It is essential and imperative to involve youth in these conversations as they represent the majority population of the world and are the future change makers. So the following series aims to draw parallels between the cause of nuclear disarmament in everyday life and addresses the question of its relevance for citizens all across the globe, from both nuclear and non-nuclear states alike. So with the view of tackling one issue per month and highlighting an intersectional and catastrophic nature, the first session of the series was dedicated to food security. So here we talked about how nuclear testing can affect our food security. Further, adding to the points that my panelists have already mentioned about social media, I totally believe that social media is a great tool of advocacy for youth who, despite their geographical distance, would like to connect with other activists for the common cause. Like we are all here on this Zoom call, although we are just located all over the world. We're just here for the common cause that we believe in. So we have seen in the past few years, especially during the COVID-19 lockdown, that youth found out creative ways to stay connected and keep each other informed. While there's a huge influx of misinformation that has been going on since the start of the Russia-Ukraine war, social media has the potential to be employed as a tool for disseminating important facts, important news regarding the recent developments in the field of disarmament, and to keep each other informed and connected. So I feel like youth have always found out very innovative and unique ways to make our voices, to amplify our voices. And so I think that would be one of the important tools that we can use for our advocacy efforts.
Thank you, Mona Lisa. And she talked about how to raise awareness to reverse the trend in the context of disarmament. And Nuran from Marshall Island, she showed how Marshall Island people face the nuclear weapons issue crucial and directly. So please talk about that, Nuran.
Yes, it's very true in the Pacific. We're still talking about the past impacts of nuclear weapons, and people hardly realize that nuclear weapons can still affect us. Our students are often asked, why should we care? Why are we talking about this? What is this, and why we adopt this campaign slogan, my fish is your fish, to remind others that the ocean connects us. Therefore, we all feel the impacts of nuclear crisis like the ruined dome and the Fukushima waste dumping. It is so important to build solidarity by acknowledging that everyone is impacted by us, but also everyone has something to contribute towards building peace. As university students, we recognize that we are surrounded by a diverse group of youth who have many talents, and so we try to use that to our advantage. Youth have a powerful role in building solidarity and in advocating for issues because we are so full of hope and hunger to find a way to make an impact on this world we live in.
Yeah, definitely agree with your opinion, and no one could be without living with nuclear weapons right now, right? Like everyone is living in a world with more than 12,000 nuclear weapons. But to be honest, like the all participants until now have showed very brilliant idea and solutions, but I do not have a clear answer with this. Because before new victims of nuclear weapons appear, we have to do something. And in this sense, young people have to be more serious and greedy with the future we are going to live. So I'm doing this activity just to protect myself and the lovely people around me. But as just Mulan indicated, like someone are so ignorant about this issue, and it's so hard, and we have to use so much energy to change those people, right? So in this context, I do not have a clear answer, but at the discussion we've done in our group, like your name was Sarira-san, the Japanese high school student, presented her idea on the discussion and like collaborating with art. Maybe we could earn our money to do this activity, and also like it's very good way to you know, make people join to this activity. And that, I guess that was very brilliant. And you know, the thing is that there is no money in community to do that. So I wish if we could have a proper community and, you know, money in order we can do, or we can challenge something. I guess that could promote the solution of this issue, I guess. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm the last speaker of this session, but yeah, that's the thing I thought during this session. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for all of your strong message. And I am so happy that you shared your opinion and you make network in the breakout room session before. And that was brilliant. That was our true purpose to have this event. So thank you for your lively discussion. And yeah, the panelists who gathered today are also youth. So as Suzuka-san said, we are searching for answers through try and error, and we also express they also express their honest opinion about how to continue to work sustainability to protect our own nuclear-free and peaceful future. So we can work together on this issue. Thank you very much for your great discussion. So then we almost past 8, but we will have 5 minutes Q&A session from now. So if you have any question or comment to panelists, please turn on your microphone and make your comments. And you can also use your chat box, and please talk in your most comfortable language. We can help in translating. Okay, then now for wise audiences. Is it anyone want to make some comments? You can raise your hand or put anything in your chat box. Okay, there is some comments from Betty. Thank you, Unity, for connecting us all. Everyone here is so passionate and inspiring. Our network is our net worth. Yes, thank you so much.
While waiting for possible questions, let's take a quick picture, screen picture for our report.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, if anyone wants to be on a page, yes, please turn the cam on for a minute. Great.
Great.
Who's taking it? Am I taking it, or?
I want to ask someone else. Yes, because my network is not good, and yeah, I cannot see everyone's face.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. I'll do it once more. 3, 2, 1. Good. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Shizuka. Okay.
I just thought I couldn't miss this opportunity. It's really rare thing that we have this young professionals and also youth who are in this field, who are working really, really hard to make work done, like all together. It's really extraordinary chance that we can see and listen to all the panelists that we have today. So just thought for my sake that I need to take a picture.
That's right. That's good. Yeah. So if you don't have any question, or if you are a bit shy to share in this time, yeah, we are already connected and we already have each other's contacts. So please talk directly to panelists or each other. And if you have any comments or questions, please send to Unitar. We can also share to panelists. And if you visit our website or SNS, we also provide some information of today's panelists. So please see and consider what you want in the future or from now on. Okay, then we move to closing remarks. Chiruka-san, please go.
Thank you very much for engagements and meaningful, fruitful discussion for today. I hope our activity on International Day of Peace enabled us to deepen our understanding and empathy and to connect with many attractive people. So it was very inspiring to hear from all of you. And thank you very much again. That's all from me now.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I have to say, despite the time difference, thank you for joining for today. We are so happy to seeing you on Zoom, but hopefully we can meet in person someday and we can share our opinion about our future. And that's so nice to hear the opinion from your regional perspective. So that makes the world no one left behind. So let's move on together and keep working and stay healthy. Thank you for joining today. Yeah, that's all for me too. Okay, thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Then bye.